And I'm going to just take my time. I have permission to take my time?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to really take my time tonight. We're going to start in Luke, the 22nd chapter. And we're going to just begin. Let me find it. Amen. And we're going to begin with the 31st verse. And we're going to move around it just a little bit. But we're going to start right there. And it says this. And the Lord said, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan hath desired to have you, and that he may sift you as wheat. And then Jesus says in the 32nd verse, but I have prayed for thee, that thy faith fail not. And when thou art converted, strengthen thy brethren. That's just foundational scripture. Remember, we're under the umbrella of emotional intimacy. And remember last week we talked about how you really have to watch yourself, because it is natural for you to desire sex, closeness, for someone, or companionship, for someone to see into you. Now, I'm going to park here. Are y'all with me? I'm going to park here for a second. And you're going to see, and I liked last week, because I brought up the issue of being single, and how, as a single person, how the struggle with being single, not married or not hooked or not joined together in a covenant committed relationship, biblically speaking. So I brought that issue up, and I'm going to hit it again, but the truth is, I need your mind to be able to broaden itself, because I'm not just dwelling on that as an issue, but I'm using that as a gateway into so many other reasons why the enemy has us. And so I find it interesting in here that in Luke, what was that? Luke 22, right, and 31. I find it interesting that Jesus tells them, like, Peter, there's a purpose for you. But the way that you are, and I'm paraphrasing it, but the way that you are by nature is getting ready to be tried. And it is the trying that you go through within the context of your nature that is going to be the thing that I use to convert you. Are you listening? I'm literally going to allow Satan, he's asked for permission, and I'm literally going to allow Satan to do some stuff to you. And the thing that I want you to understand is that he's going to come, and this is for all of us now, he's going to come predicated on not his nature. This is how deep an attack can be. That an attack will forfeit its nature in order to get into your nature. Y'all missing it. When Satan sends a demon or he sends an enemy against you, that enemy will forfeit or forsake his own nature, which means he will be patient. Real important words that I'm using. He will demonstrate patience. He won't show himself right away so that he can gain your confidence. Why? Because if he's going to sift me, it means that he must first understand me. He must understand what because of the lesson, he must understand what my lusts are, my dreams are, my desires are. He must come to know me in a way that he now knows how to communicate with me. Because I'm not going to just walk up to you if I'm wise and start offering you things and guess. Because your walls are up and you're not going to just, but I'm going to communicate. Are you listening? And in order to do that, I must figure out what you like. Carolyn, what's your favorite color? Red. So now I know that Carolyn's favorite color is red. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to use the information to flatter her. Y'all not with me. And we're going to find out within the confounds of the lesson, Pastor's out, Carolyn. We're going to find out within the confounds of the lesson just how Satan works. Hear me. He's not that way.
Sorry.
He's going to do things predicated on the concept of what you desire. Are y'all listening? So, and that's why I don't like giving them out, because it takes your attention away from the setup for it. But you have to understand. So he says, listen, Simon, I want you to understand something. Satan has come. He's petitioned God. He's petitioned. And he's petitioned that he may what? Nuh-uh. What? What? I'm waiting for somebody to read the Bible. There you go. Because even last week I talked about that. He wants to have you. He wants to take, listen, Satan wants to have you. I'm waiting for this to sink in. I told you I'm going to take my time. If we don't get no further, then that's cool. You have to understand, I'm now understanding in my mind that Satan wants to have me. So guess what that means? I'm going to give you one perspective of what that means. He don't just want to have you as far as hold you in his arms. Remember, I did that last week. That's superficial. He wants to have you, and he wants to be intimate with you. Are you with me? You have to understand something about it. He knows that if God has claimed you, he can do nothing about God claiming you. But if he have you, despite God's claiming you, God can do nothing about that. Now, that should have provoked some questions. There you go. What do you mean God can do nothing about that? You have to understand something. God is sovereign power. He's all powerful. He's all those things, omnipotent, all these things, omnipresent, all these things. But God abides in laws, self-governing principles. And so, from a spiritual perspective, God has set it up that what we bind will be bound. And what we loose will be loose. This is the key. This is what I'm talking about, his presence. We have to work on learning how to give God permission and not just petition. We're petitioning God, but we haven't given God permission. And so even God himself, while he can do anything, be anything, and he's unstoppable, at the same time, the whole subject matter of just this one couple of verses of scripture is that Satan desires to have you. Why? Because he wants to indwell. That's what God wants. It wouldn't be no big deal. God could come and do anything he wants, but the whole concept of it is the indwelling. Are you with me? The indwelling thing. And so most of us don't understand that what we're going through in the natural realm is us being tried by Satan and or God to see who has us. And or how much of us we've given to one or the other of ourselves. Are you with me? Because you have to understand, emotional intimacy begins with who you allow to see into you. So I'm not going to threaten you until I know you feel secure with me. Listen, I'm not going to do nothing that will provoke you to decide that you don't want me in you anymore. Are y'all with me? So now, Simon, Satan desires to have you, and I need to make you aware of the fact that Satan desires to have you. He desires to be intimate with you. Are y'all with me? Foundational talking. This foundational talking. Because, let me get myself together. I said, y'all said I could take my time, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm getting myself together right here. So, on the sheet of paper, Rick, do you mind reading for me? Or no? I need you, I want to try this style of teaching a little bit. I just want you to read the project overview.
To show that a person can welcome an evil spirit into their soul without even knowing it.
Hold it. Do you get this? That a person can do what, Rick?
Welcome.
Uh-huh. A what? A what? Come on, talk. You can welcome an evil spirit without even knowing it. That was the whole point of Jesus telling Simon, I need you to be awake. Because in your nature, in the way you are, and what you're doing, and what I observed about you, you're going to welcome an unintentional thing into your life. Are you with me? So go ahead, Rick.
It is not an uncommon scene when a person actually welcomes unclean spirits without having to do anything on the outside.
You don't have to do anything on the outside. Most of us, and we're kind of in the realm where it's like we think, oh God, if I go have sex, or if I go smoke a cigarette, or if I go lie or cheat or steal, whatever the case may be, we think, oh man, I've sinned. But you have to understand, that's secondary sin. The objective of the devil is for you to welcome him in. I think I'm questioning whether or not you're getting this. What God is revealing to me is that we are ignorantly welcoming spirits in our lives. Who would decide to be hooked on drugs? Who would decide to be a liar or murderer? Not really. Not really. You understand what I'm saying? But what happens is that unknowingly, listen to my words, unknowingly, uninformedly, you welcomed certain satanic and demonic activity in your life.
Oh, it's the way we think.
We getting there. Ultimately, it's what you decide, and it's why you decided. You hear me? Are you with me? So, here we go. You read it all, right, Rick? So do it one more time. They said I could take my time.
Project overview to show that a person can welcome an evil spirit into their soul without even knowing it. It is not an uncommon scene when a person actually welcomes unclean spirits without having to do anything on the outside.
Exactly. So you know why? Because we don't think conceptually. We don't think that we think in terms of, you know what I mean, the steps of a righteous man are ordered by God, and that, you know what I mean, what's that, what's the scripture talking about, you know what I mean, oh, I know the plans I have for you, plans to bless you, and plans for all this and that, but none of us think in terms of Satan having a plan for us.
Come on. Wow. Okay. That's true.
And so this awakening that God has given me and revealing to me, I mean, it's like jarring me awake, because it's like, hold it. You've been walking around here trying to, and your intentions were to do right and be right and talk right and love everybody. You've been trying to do all these things, but you have failed when it comes to what it takes to resist Satan's strategy. you are totally not including in your desire a defense and or offense against Satan's plan. And so everybody in here need to come to the conclusion that Satan has a plan for you. Ultimately, that's what the scriptures tell you, that Satan has a plan for you. Simon, I want to let you know that Satan has a plan for you. Are you with me? It's like something you know, but it's not a way you're thinking. Isn't that right? That's how, of course, I know Satan is the enemy and all this other kind of thing. But if you think about the way you think, you don't think in terms of the fact that Satan has a plan. So guess what? If he has a plan and he's desiring me, he ain't desiring me for nothing.
Right.
He's desiring me because he got a reason for me. He got something he want me to do. He got a way he wants me to act. He has a way he wants me to talk. He has a way he wants me to affect people. He wants me in his ministry. Isn't that a trip? Yes. How Satan wants me in his ministry. So now, methods of Satan's sifting. Accusations. Turn to, and somebody grab it real quick. Y'all told me I could do this, right? Turn to Revelation 12 and 10 real quick. Accusation. One of the things you have to understand is that Satan will accuse you. That's what Jesus warns him about. He said, Peter said, I'm with you. I'll die for you. Jesus said, man, you don't know what you're talking about. He said, when Satan start coming at you with his plan, you're going to curse me. You're going to curse me. You're going to deny me. You're going to deny me. Are you with me? You are going to deny me. How many here see yourself denying God? You can give it to him. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. How many here see yourself denying God? Let me see the hand. If everybody here see yourself denying God. No. So intentionally, I mean intentionally.
Never that.
So that was Peter's thing. So I'm going to accuse you, Cynthia. Cynthia, you're going to deny God. You be like, what you talking about? No, I'm not. I love the Lord. He heard my cry. Pitied every moan. High glory. And you understand, I'm telling you that that's how you perceive God now. But when your life is threatened, how is your life threatened? In our modern time, it ain't a gun to our head necessarily or yet. Your bills, your children, when they want to come repossess your car, you got to make a choice between faithfulness to God and doing what you have to do to save the car. Y'all know that.
Oh yeah. Right.
When you have obligations and responsibilities, but yet there's something in you saying, I quit or I let go or it's done. Are y'all with me?
Yes.
See, you have to understand, it is in the same context that Peter denied Jesus. Whenever there was something about his life that was threatened, how he saw his life and how he wanted his life to be. And in this modern rationale, most of us give God what's left of our lives after we take care of what's important to us. Boy, y'all still give me permission?
Yes, yes.
And I want you to hear this, and I want you to remember what I'm saying, because it's going to be relevant if we get past this. Revelations, y'all got that?
Yes.
12 and 10. Somebody read it for me. Carolyn, you got it?
Yes.
Read it loud.
Then I heard a loud voice in heaven saying, now the salvation and the power and the kingdom of our God and the authority of his Christ has come. For the accuser of our brethren has been thrown down.
The who?
The accuser
Uh-huh.
of our brethren has been thrown down.
So you have to understand that you will be put in positions where you are not looked at favorably. And Satan will always try to maneuver you in a position where you have to defend yourself against ignorance. He wants it to become a personal fight.
Yes, yes.
Remember, he don't want you to focus on purpose. He wants it to be personal. And so the accusations or the misunderstanding through miscommunication put you in a defensive posture.
Right.
What do you want me to do? Keep taking that? I'm going to go on and do my own thing. I got to do. What do you want me to do? Y'all so quiet. So when he accused you, it is from the perspective of the same thing he did to Job. He accused Job. He said, listen, Job ain't serving you for nothing. Let me touch this. Let me take that. Let me challenge him in this way. And I guarantee you, he will cuss you to your face. In other words, he won't find a usefulness for you. I'm using this terminology on purpose. And you ain't even conscious that you're struggling to find God relevant. Because when your heart and your affection and your feelings are involved, and God is not in a cooperation with you in your emotional self, then it's hard to find him relevant. I'm trying to give you a description of where the position that Satan had put Peter in. That was him. He was with Jesus. And can you imagine the fear that overtook Peter? Now this big bad Peter cutting people's ears off and everything else. But he was motivated by the presence of Jesus. Oh my God, this ain't Sunday. He was motivated by the presence of Jesus, and he had his boys there. But some kind of way they messed around and cornered Peter. It said he was one, he was there, and Peter started saying, the hell if I was, no. You understand what I'm saying? See, when self-preservation kicks in, God is not relevant if he's not doing, and the devil's job is to make you, the devil's job is to put you in a position where self-preservation takes priority over purpose.
That's right.
So he will put you in conflict with purpose and self-preservation. So whenever you don't have enough, or whenever it looks like it ain't going your way, or something else comes up, you always pick you. Are y'all with me? Y'all sure y'all with me? Any questions or comments? I'll allow one or two. None? All right, we're going to move on then. So number 2 is imagination. See, this is how the method that Satan used to trick us, or to trick us into giving him permission. Because the truth is, you're so powerful. You're so powerful that if you didn't give Satan permission, and remember, Rick read it, It's about, look, you can unknowingly allow certain satanic, certain demonic, certain spiritual activity. And you could be around people who you have an affection for, who has the mind of Satan, and who are possessed by a habit or an addiction or a drug. And it could be a people, a person, place, or thing. But because of your affection for them, it can affect you. Are y'all with me? You didn't decide it to walk in fear, but you scared for your child. You scared for your children. You scared for your grandchildren. You see with your natural eye things going on. But God said, I have not given you the spirit of fear. I've given you the spirit of peace, love, and a sound mind, but yet you cannot walk in any of it because it requires your choice. Are y'all with me?
Yeah, yeah.
It's getting hot to me. The mind's eye, you got to watch it. The mind's eye simply means this. It's not all of the natural eye, what you see. I see Toya there, but it's my opinion about Toya. That becomes my mind's eye. Are y'all with me? It's my opinion about Deacon. It's my opinion about Carol. It's my opinion about Rick. That's my mind's eye. So emotions, and number 3, emotions. When my mind's eye or my opinion is involved, Satan's sifting ability comes in through my feelings, and I'm not going to stay there long because I think that's self-explanatory, how you feel. What it feels like to have the experience. Natural sensation. Please listen to me. Y'all with me, right? Natural sensation. I'm glad I came prepared because y'all mighty quiet. I guess y'all taking it in. The one, where's my pen? The one that really gets me, and we're going to discuss this a little bit more, the one that really gets me is this word. Y'all see it? After feelings?
Sentiment?
Yeah, that sentiment. And we're going to discuss that a little bit deeper, but that's the one that get me. That sentiment thing. Are y'all with me? And then reaction, passion, and excitement. Woo! Y'all with me, right?
Yes.
So, the objective is to expose the process to intimacy, ensnarement. What I want to do is I want to teach you and expose how you get ensnared, how you get trapped, entangled in the process. Are y'all with me? I'm already doing it, but I need you to understand that there's a process, there's a method that Satan uses to ensnare you. So we want to talk about that. We want to teach how to recognize the right. Oh my God, I think I'm gonna start right there, to be honest with you. I was talking to my wife, and I said, well, look this over for me and see if I, because when your mind is somewhere else, and I'm typing and writing and thinking, I said, make sure I didn't smell anything wrong, whatever. So her eyes went right to that, rights, R-I-T-E-S. And so she said, that is that right? She said, because isn't it, R-I-G-H-T? I said, no. I said, that's not the right. Because all of a sudden, as God began to give me revelation into this stuff, all of a sudden I understood something. Now, I want you to begin to write some stuff down because we're getting ready to get into a little bit of it because of how much time. What time somebody got? Oh, yeah, I got to hurry up. So this right here has everything to do with ceremony. And what you don't understand is that if me and Carolyn, she's safe, she's my cousin, if me and Carolyn is getting ready to decide whether or not we want a relationship, you know what I'm saying? Then that right is what I'm talking about. It is literally us going through a thing where there's a ceremony involved. When Satan told Eve to bite the fruit, she didn't bite the fruit because he said bite it. You have to understand what it was the initiation. Hear me. Because if there's a ceremony involved, that means that I'm trying to initiate you. I'm trying to bring you in to something, but I'm going to talk to you and build intimacy and cause you to question what you think you know now. Are y'all with me? And so you have to watch relationships or communication, because this is ultimately what it is. Communication is the initiation of a ceremonial process. And so if they're going to indoctrinate you with witchcraft, or if they're going to indoctrinate you into drugs, if they're going to indoctrinate, it begins with discussion, things that are beneficial to you. I only want you to see what's beneficial. You're going to pick a wife, you're going to pick a husband. All they want you to see is the good. Why? Because Satan needs permission. He knows you're so powerful that if you don't open up, if you don't start talking about your issues, your problems, well, up there, your emotions, what you're going through, and your dreams, your imagination, if you don't start talking about your children, commit know how to rap. They ain't talking about, girl, you so fine, I'll drink your bath water.
I ain't never said that.
They ain't saying stuff like, I hope you like tacos because I'm going to taco about you all night. I heard that today.
Stick with preaching.
Stick with preaching.
I don't think that one works.
Okay, we're going to move. Yeah, but they're not talking that way. They're looking to see where your problems are.
Yeah.
They're looking to see where they can fit into something and be a solution to you. What you don't understand is that Satan has a plan for you, and he knows how to talk your talk.
Yes.
He's a wolf in sheep's clothing. He knows how to clap his hands. He knows how to tell you, my family is church. My uncle is this. My cousin is that. He knows how to tell you what you want to hear. My mama is a missionary from way back. Y'all not up in here. And she know how to talk the talk too. It ain't just him, because it is it is a ceremonial process. I want to look like I'm sufficient. I want to look like I got it together. I want to look like I take care of my business. I want to look like the person that I know now come to understand because you allowed me in to you to see. I want to look like the person you need, you want, you've been waiting for. I want to look like I'm the gift from God for you. Are y'all with me?
Yeah.
Y'all still give me permission, right?
Yes.
So the thing is that when that ceremonial thing, that right thing, you have to don't leave that, because what I learned is that's how witches indoctrinate you. And you understand, Satan is patient. Because when you're getting ready to be engrafted into witchcraft, they understand that it can take a year before they even bring you into the initiation process. What we don't have time for, Satan makes time for. He understands that the compelling power is in building relationship. And the church don't want relationships with each other. We just want to go and do our ministry and fulfill our calling. Not understanding that Satan is taking the territory, taking the people, taking everything, because he's building relationships through relating to where people are. Are y'all with me?
Yeah.
So here we go. Woo-wee. Now, in the ceremony thing, are y'all with me? In the ceremony thing, the number one thing Satan want to do is to isolate you.
Yes.
He will attempt to pull you away from everything you are familiar with now. Good God. Y'all so quiet. He will attempt to pull you away and isolate you. Because this is all part of it. Because if I can get your attention, if I can get you to myself, then I can then begin the indoctrination process. You don't even understand that in witchcraft, right? In witchcraft, what they do is that they pull you in, and when they get ready to go through the ceremony, they pull you in, and they have a circle around you. And the man is standing there with a mask on and a sword in his hand. And candles are all everywhere. And so the thing that they do, though, is that they bring you in, you blindfolded, and your hands are tied. And the thing that, every night, and the thing that they do is that they ask you again, are you sure you want to do it? They know that by now, you are not going to back out because of being initiated by the person you have a relationship with. Are y'all with me? So then, when you say yes, they pull you in, and this is the thing that rocked me. They then lead you into the center of the circle. And in the center of the circle, they begin the ritual or the rite of initiation. And it is only after a certain point into the initiation, they loose your hands and they take the blindfold off. You know why? Because by that point, you have committed yourself and have given the spirit its. Because historically speaking, witchcraft comes out of worshiping many gods. So all you now have to do is get in a realm or get in a place where you pick what God you want to use.
Jesus.
Now, I'm telling you this story because if Satan desires to have Peter, he has to go through an initiation, which means he has to get into him to the degree or become his friend to the degree that how he feels emotionally, Satan is not opposed to. The other dimension to it is that witches come to church because one of the things that they don't do is discriminate against what God you want to go to. So they're not like us that say Jesus and God and blah, blah, blah. No, they say go worship any God you want. Are you with me? So what Satan wanted to do with Peter, I'm rambling. What Satan wanted to do with Peter was put him in a realm or put him in a place where he began to understand this perspective, because you got to think about his circumstance. His circumstance was one, the one that he was following, he just saw get dragged away. Just saw get beat. All these other kind of things. Everything he thought he felt for the one he was following, who told him he was the Son of God, and blah, 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 blah. It messed with his mind. So you got to know that if Satan is going to initiate you, it will be where your affection is. Where your emotions are. He's going to touch. He's going to try you predicated on what you love. I can't see nothing without these glasses. So are y'all with me?
Yeah.
Okay, to help the student understand that it is by right of passage and what he must most concerned with. So he's want to separate you. He wants to separate you. I feel this for somebody. Satan wants to separate. Hence the scripture. He wants to have you, and then he wants to what?
Separation.
What's the word? What's the terminology? There you go. He wants to sift you. And you can always tell, see, this is satanic activity. He don't want you to fit in. He wants you to still belong to him. In the midst of it. In the midst of what's going on, he wants you to still belong to him. They want you to still belong to them. They don't want you to feel like you're a part of what you're a part of or attempting to become. They don't want you to feel like you really coming into who you are. Are y'all with me?
Yes.
Understanding the meaning of the word palingenesis. Understanding the meaning of the word palingenesis. Are y'all with me? Here we are. Here we are. Understanding the meaning of the word palingenesis. When we yield ourselves, whether it be our thoughts, actions, so forth, to the enemy, this is it, listen to it. We are giving them access to our souls, mind, will, and emotion. So when Satan comes in and does what he does, this is what he wants access to. So when Jesus said he wants to have you, he wants to possess, he wants to get in there, and so your will, your emotions, and your mind. He wants to take over your mind. Are y'all with me? You are ending, listen to this. Y'all ready? You are ending life as you know it in the world of demonic relationship. It is considered in their world a rebirth or ending of life as you've known it. So whenever a demon or a devil comes in and they initiate you and you go through the ceremony, in their mind, they're ending the life as you've known it. Are y'all getting it or no? Any questions or comments?
When you say ending their life, as we know it, it's forgetting the way things work in our lives.
It's not even about forgetting it.
All right, maybe.
It's not even about forgetting it. I don't care if you remember.
Uh-huh.
I want you powerless.
Okay.
Do you understand? This is my whole thing. I don't want your will. I don't want God's will. I don't want nobody. I want you powerless. I want you to think powerless. I want you to think limited. I want you to think of death and doom and despair. I want you not to have hope. I don't want you to have any inkling in you of that it's going to be any different than the way I tell you it's going to be.
That sounds like somebody who's severely depressed.
Huh?
That sounds like somebody who's severely depressed.
And you know what? That is such a good point. Did y'all hear her? She said it sounds like somebody that's depressed. severely depressed.
Okay, severely, right,
Acutely depressed. I mean, they depressed.
right,
Nothing.
right.
All the sense of pleasure is gone.
Nothing to live for.
And the crazy thing is, man, if you want to see somebody like that, go to church.
That's true. That's very true.
That's the crazy part about it. That's the crazy part about it. Because they've never, see, and this is the blessing about us teaching. This is the blessing about the teaching because they never have been made aware of how to enter into warfare or what it means to be at war and to understand the objective of Satan. Oh yeah, you heard it preach. Satan desires to have you and to sift you, but thank God he prayed for me. That ain't doing me no good.
Not at all.
That ain't doing. Hallelujah. When I walk out of there,
Same way.
he got me. And I'm trying to figure out how did he get me? Why? Where? I'm disarmed. And I don't know how I got disarmed. Because I never seen it coming.
That is so true.
And look, the life I had in God has come to an end.
That's why so many people walk away from God.
That's why so many people walk away from church. I say that before I say they walk away from God. Because it's questionable if they ever make contact with God.
Oh, okay.
If they ever really let God in.
Okay.
Had intimacy.
There you go. Had intimacy. Very good, D. Have intimacy with God. It's questionable. And that's the thing that we all want. We all are desperate to be intimate with God for his presence, for his power. We all want to feel like we belong to God and not our problems. Because we're making decisions predicated on that depression, predicated on, because of the oppression. Are y'all listening? Because ask somebody in here that's married. A lot of us wouldn't have married the person we married if we wasn't in the state of mind that we were in. Oh, I can't get no help.
That's true. I'm with you for that one. That's so true.
That's very true.
But that sound like too. That sound like somebody.
Even you, Mother Overton.
That sound like a lukewarm Christian because you paying attention to your circumstances, and then at the same time you want to be with God, and then that's.
So you so on today. You hear? She said it sounded like a lukewarm Christian, a double-minded Christian. And look, I'm gonna be double-minded until I find the real thing. I'm gonna be between two opinions. I'm trying this, but it don't seem to be getting me where I need to get. And I don't mean in Chicago. I mean, it's not getting me internally where I want to be. I want to be different. I want to be purposeful. I want to have meaning. Even if I have to suffer, I want it to count for something. And that's the thing that Satan has sifted away from me. Everything I'm going through, I don't even know why. I don't even know what it means.
That's so true.
But Pastor, did God say cast all your problems?
Oh, Tammy, be quiet. Yes, the scripture says cast all your cares. But you got to understand, cast all my cares on who?
Right.
Where are you? I'll give them to you.
Right.
But that's my whole point. You haven't let God in. You haven't given him permission. Because you don't understand that even in satanic worship and witchcraft, they try you because they don't want you to just be in it for the sex and for the orgies and for the parties and all the stuff they have a represent. They say, listen, we got to weed them people out.
Right.
And we want people with conviction. Even Satan worshipers want people with a conviction.
That makes me think of that scripture where it says, "We know that's there, but we know it not." But you
Yeah, very good.
Revelation 3:20.
Yeah. Behold, I stand at the door and knock, and you have to open the door. Very good. Now y'all waking up. Very good. You get what I'm saying? Let me tell you. Let me explain something. Y'all gave me permission. I'm not gonna be able to. What time is it?
7 o'clock.
Yeah, right. Uh-oh. Let me rush. Watch this. God spoke to me and told me, he said, the thing that I don't want you to miss, that if Satan is going to have Peter and he's going to sift Peter, you have to understand what he's after. Are y'all ready for this? So the Holy Spirit spoke to me and said he's after his ego. If I'm going to beat you down and make you surrender, I have to deny any identity than what I dictate to you. Are you listening? I have to show you that you have no, I have to convince you that you have no power and no authority other than to be what I subject you to. Are you with me? And I ain't just talking about the house you live in and the car you drive. I'm talking about, listen, I want to show you that I don't want to give you no choices. He blinded their eyes. Listen, you got to understand, I don't want to give you no decisions other than what I show you your options are. And what you have to understand, that mind's eye is where the battle really, that's the battleground. That mind's eye is the battleground. You fighting for thoughts outside of your situation. You fighting not to be trapped by what's the onslaught of things that are natural, that are material. You're trying to get out of the material mind so that you can then get into the spiritual world so that you can then see, the source of the thing that is being sent against you. You want to bind that. Because everything that is attacking you is seeking possession of you.
All right.
It's seeking possession of your mind. If I get your mind, you can't help but to go where I lead you. You can't help but to have whatever I give you. That thinking is why you're limited. And that's predicated on your emotional self. And most people mess around and want people to feel sorry for them. Because they have self-pity and they want other people to be sorry for them. So you tell everybody you meet what you're going through. Because you're convinced nobody cares. And you fixated on that because you made that the most important thing to you. Is that other people care about you. So the ego, a person's sense of self-esteem or self-importance. Are you listening? Self-respect, self-connect, self-image, self-confidence. Those are the things that are in the ego. Why did you marry him? Why are you entertaining conversation with that person? Why did you get the McDonald's job and stop? Why did you, quit school? Or why did you stop here? Why isn't there any advancement in your life other than through situations and circumstances? Because you don't have a sense of say-so. You have to understand the ego. You don't have a sense of say-so. Your self-esteem has been such under relentless attack till you begin to give in to what is possible predicated on what people offer you. Are you with me?
Yes.
And so it goes into even sexual because let me tell you what I wrote down. And I have to touch it. We're not going to be able to go all the way in it, but I have to touch it because the Holy Spirit spoke to me and showed me, because I'm asking God. How the emotional intimacy, it has to include sex. Because one of the things that you don't understand is how a demon operates within another person. And so he understands, he done found your need. Wherever there's a lack, wherever there's some slack, wherever there's hesitation, listen to me. Wherever in your mind you haven't made up, you are complete in that arena or area, Satan will come. He will send someone. And it could be as innocent as the longing to be hugged, the longing to be held, the longing for a conversation, the longing to laugh with somebody, have something mutually in common. See, you have to understand, so, because first I'm bringing it out of the bed and let you know how you have that. The scripture calls it knowing God. So you have that knowing before you ever physically touch somebody. And y'all don't even understand how you're having intimacy, you're having sex without even, because what you don't see about sex is how spiritual it is. You don't see that sex or sexuality is really a spiritual thing. And it's really two spirits connecting with the barrier of the flesh in a way. And they're counting on the sensation of the flesh to verify or to agree with what they are spiritually feeling. And it's literally asking for confirmation. And it is in the act of sex that you lose yourself.
Ooh, come on, Pastor.
And it is the only time in life, one of the only times in life, that you are capable of just completely losing you. Because at the peak of orgasm, at the peak of release, at that place in yourself, you now no longer are you become one with the one that is making you, because you've given them yourself that way. Not just your body, you've placed your mind in position where you're now susceptible to whatever they do. And so then when you get up from the act of sex, you understand what the deposit was. Y'all ladies walking around with all them men's souls in you. Their spirits they ejaculated something physical, but they put something spiritual in you. And you're trying to break it out of your mind. Try not to let it have that kind of power over you. But you understand, you done became one. And I can't get into all of it. I'm rushing through a whole bunch of stuff. But you have to understand, and you might have done it illegally. Because that's what I'm saying about God. As sovereign as God is, he abides within principles. He abides within power. He abides within his own rules. So that's why he said, come, let me come in. I'm not going to just take you. I want you to allow me in. Why? Come, let us reason together. Let's become one. Let us have sex. Let us be sexual. Let us be intimate. That's why Solomon says, when I looked at her nipples, they were like peaches and cream and, blah, 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 blah. Because in his mind, y'all not in here. In his mind, I feel Sunday coming. That's why I got to calm down. Because in his mind, Solomon said, her lips taste like honey. And her breasts were like cherries. And then I looked at her skin, it was just like cinnamon. And as I crushed her up and down, it took me here, it did this, it did that, and blah, 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 blah. What he was telling you is that it was metaphoric, even though it was something that he could do physically. And he was using that as a metaphor into a spiritual thing. Speak it up.
About the spiritual significance of sex, that's inclusive of that. Like, he needs to be a part of that. Right. And in my youth, I didn't, have an understanding woman, having to have the mind that before I lay with my husband, having to have the mind to pray and invite God into that union, because I don't want, like you said, there to be an illegal transaction that takes place because he's not a part of it. I have to give him permission and ask him, God, be a part of what is happening here, what's being communicated between us, sanction it, and be in the midst of it, because like you said, you're so open, and these spirits can be so suggestive, and like you said, that's like your most vulnerable state, and if you don't, give God that place and ask him into that place, then it's like you setting yourself up, or you could be setting yourself up.
And that's where we are, the sin door of emotions. That's exactly where we are, the sin door of emotion. You have to understand, and that's why it's dangerous as a single person. Y'all still giving me permission, right?
I'm listening to you.
I have to ask every now and then because y'all shut your mind down. And you have to understand, because if God is going to use you and you can't figure out how to get over certain humps in your life, it's not just the money, it's not just the lack of material. There are barriers between you and the presence of God. And so you have to understand, amen, where it is. If Satan desires to have you, he has desires to sift you as wheat, you have to understand where this is coming from. You have to understand the barrier. You have allowed Satan in without knowing. Rick read it in the beginning. And the devil loves ignorance. You know why? Because whether you knew it or not, the law still applies. And you have to, even in the natural, what they say, ignorance is no excuse. And so you have to understand that if you're going to be somebody, I ain't talking about doing, if you're going to be somebody, your salvation is going to mean something, if your salvation is going to be beneficial to you, the saved confessor, and that's what's wrong with the church, is that people sitting in the church and their salvation don't mean what it should mean. You don't understand. You've been initiated. You've been ceremonialized. You've been indoctrinated. You don't understand. You're following rituals and routines and going at the our church service is a ceremony. You've been initiated and you don't understand. And so because there are people sitting in church that don't know how to express personal relationship with God. But then maybe they are expressing it, and that's the problem. Because that's where their relationship with God is. Because just like you having sex with your spouse, that euphoria, that enthusiasm, that drive and need and determination, and that point where you no longer can think because you blank out in your mind because of the presence. That it shakes your body and it shakes your soul, and all of a sudden there's an explosion of euphoria over the concept and the presence of God.
Come on.
Are you with me? So I can't go further. I'm sure it's 9 o'clock, isn't it?
No.
Yes, it
Just
is.
bring the last part before you stop.
Explain the last part.
Well, go a little bit more before you stop.
This is the thing, I will say this about that. I learned that there are people who are emotional junkies.
What you mean by that?
What I mean by that, you was hooked on heroin,
Yes.
and what was it like to be hooked on heroin?
Oh, God.
That's what I mean. And so there are people who are emotional junkies, people who crave it, people who try to stop, feeling that way. Stop needing that person. Stop needing how they make me feel. See, you opened yourself up, and so now you understand your sensation stuff. That door of emotions have been opened. The sin door of emotion, because now you're out of control and you're obsessed, and it's habitual. Because when you hooked on drugs, you started by routine and initiation and ceremony, but now it's habitual. Now you go and you need to feel, and you after a feeling, and you understand that God is want to make you responsible. You understand that we got to get out of bed and go to a job.
Right.
Because they're getting ready to turn the lights off. They're getting ready to, there's no food in the refrigerator. You don't understand. There are things that he wants to make you accountable for, but you're chasing the emotion of the relationship.
Wow. That's right.
It is.
You understand? You're after that high. You're after that thing. You're after that idea. Listen to me. You're after that idea. Because the last time y'all was intimate, boy, it put some ideas in your head. Now all of a sudden you thinking about him. Now you planning things with him. Now there's a stuff. Now you see y'all together. But when you come to church, you got a problem seeing you and God. You sit there like this or go like that and look in your purse and yarn and do all other, you're distracted.
Right.
God is there making love with you and touching you in invisible ways. He's touching you in private areas, and you won't even acknowledge him. You won't moan, you won't groan, you won't show nobody, you won't lift your hands, you won't do nothing. You're laying there while he's touching you in private places.
My God.
That's real good. It really is. Oh my gosh, that's powerful.
My God.
And you don't understand, you're dead in private places.
Yes.
You're numb in private places because you made decisions to give yourself or give people intimacy to you, and they hurt you. Now you're numb in those areas. And so it went from the potential of good to hurt and pain, and now you don't want nobody to touch it. It is your psyche now. It's your psyche. He said, my yoke is easy, and my burdens are light. No, God. Don't let Pastor Allen teach on that. No, God. Don't let this happen over here. Because you're so busy dodging pain, dodging hurt, dodging experiences. You're so busy ducking and weaving and dodging and laying back. You know what I mean? You're falling back on the situation. You're so busy. You don't even understand. My yoke is easy. My burdens are light. I didn't come to hurt you. I come to fulfill you. I come to get in your mind and be everything to you that your mind tells you you deserve. And I come to do it because I know that that's my mind in you.
Jesus.
You don't understand that God has come to complete himself in you. He's come to fulfill himself in you. You don't get it. So we don't have time to get into being spiritually unclean. We don't have time to understand all those things that go along with it. Defile. We don't understand there's a whole bunch of other stuff that is involved with this. But a lot of us are walking around defiled, and we're ceremonially unclean. And how important it is to be ceremonial clean. Are you listening? Because remember what I told you, Satan desires to have you and to sift you. He wants to put you in the circle. He wants to announce stuff over you and then loose you and tell you the power you're operating in is mine now. It ain't God's. And I want you to see me as God. I want you to see my earth as God, my clouds as God, my wind as God, my sun as God, my moon as God. I want you to see my trees as God. I want you to go barefoot and go out in the grass and let your soul absorb the energy from the dirt and from the moon and from the grass and feel God in the earth. I want you to get that paycheck and feel God. Get that business and feel God. Get that woman and feel God. Get that man and feel God. I want you to worship the created rather than the creator. I want you to gain, I'm going to show you how to get all the benefits and none of the accountability or responsibility. Bow down, Jesus, and worship me, and I'll make you feel good. All this will I give you. See, that defilement, if we were going to talk about, we would go into the garden. We would go into the wilderness for 40 days and 40 nights and understand that was Jesus' struggle. It was really a purification initiating ceremony, but you have to understand, in order to be purified, he had to be tried. And his decisions were the things that were going to substantiate his mindset. I'm determined to serve you, God. In the midst of it all, I am determined to serve you. And I understand that in order to prove that I'm going to serve you, I must be tried in things that I desire. I got to be tried in my desire to prove that you're Lord in my life.
Yes, Jesus.
To prove that you run my life.
Yes, God.
My desires got to attack my intention to please you.
That's real good. Wow.
Turn the stone into bread. Man shall not live by bread alone. Throw yourself off the mount, because it is written that angels have charge. He said, why you tempt me? After a while, Jesus rose up and that which he'd known himself to be as God sanctioned and said, I rebuke you. And see, this is what it's going to take for you to have power over natural sequence. See, Satan wanted to get into things that appear natural, because he's counting on your mind to be stuck in the natural. But the truth is, there's a spiritual significance behind it. Are you with me? Give God some praise. Y'all got the camera. Y'all been going on. Come on, we can do better than that. Let's give God some praise.